All right. We are live. This is Andrew Cox with Promotional Media. I'm here with, what is it? Maze?
Mays, yes, sir.
So, if you could, and his brother in the back there, Jacob,
Jacob the Jackal.
if gotcha, if you could maybe give us a quick introduction, like who you are and where we can find any of your content or, anything that you got out there.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Rand Carlson, but I go by the name Mays when I'm making music. You can find me on Instagram at Mays214, on YouTube at Mays Music, and on TikTok at Mays214.
So, I didn't know if he wanted to introduce himself at all.
Well, he's a big part of my testimony. So if we start getting into testimony and stuff, he'll jump in. Yeah,
Got it. All right, no worries.
yeah.
Um, so if we could kind of going back to the early years of where you came from, where were you born? Um, were your parents around? What kind of life did you have? At least home life, and then we'll get to kind of school, middle school, high school stuff.
Yeah, so I was born in Acapulco, Mexico. Both of my parents are from the United States, but my biological father, he was raised in Mexico, and my mom was kind of down there back in the late '80s. Met my dad, and so I was born there. I lived there for about 3 years. That was a very toxic relationship. My father was he was an addict and an alcoholic, and pretty abusive, verbally, physically. And so my mom left me, and my mom left, and we came to Dallas, and that's pretty much where I grew up, was in the Dallas area. A few years later, my mom remarried my stepdad, who I'm really close with. He pretty much stepped into that space and raised me, and so I grew up kind of middle class. Um, had a really good upbringing. Played sports,
What sport?
I played baseball, football, basketball, soccer. I kind of played them all, and my stepdad was such a big part of my life. And so he pretty much raised me like his own.
I think that that's actually a good. So you see in outcomes of people that stepdads or single, that still kind of classifies, I think, as a single parent because it's not biological. I'm not sure if that was, but a lot of the time people get this whole thing of like stepdads are bad, and it's not actually the case. Me, I'm actually in a similar type of situation. My father was a drunk. He beat my mom and ran out on us when I was like 4 years old. Had some people kind of go in and out with my mom in relationships, but the man that I would call, I guess, my dad now, great influence, man. He worked really hard. He tried to push me into the betterment of life. Um, he he might not be a huge factor in why I ended up finding God, but he was a like he hit religion several years back, and he kind of just started really he pushed it a little strong, actually, like almost, hold the snakes strong. Like he was a little extra, but I appreciated that presence, at least knowing that he was always there, and it was always for that positive outlook on what my life should be like. So yeah.
Yeah, that's no, that's cool, man. Yeah, I think we probably lucked out with good stepfathers. I know people that had terrible stepfathers, and so I'm super grateful for my stepdad, because I know that it could have went the other way.
Easily too. Yeah, it's really it is it is a blessing when we get into the right positions, even through a rough path, which I do think that, was it Joe Nestor has a song. Is it him that says, he says, how can the light get in if you've never been broken? I think that that's so, that's so true, you know, and it doesn't mean that you have to have a bad life to find light, but I do think that some of the brightest people in this world have had that um, natural light stifled out, excuse me, stifled out or snuffed out, or at least tried to by people or things,
Yeah,
situations, you know, and we kind of overcompensate or correct and get that, you know, I think we try to shine the brightest, you know, so.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so when you, I guess, were you always in faith on that too? Did your parents, did they go to church? Where'd that kind of
Yeah.
like?
Well, we went to church. We had different kind of different seasons, I guess. We went to church, but we were kind of like nominal Christians. You know, like we went to church. It was something we did, but we weren't like uh I don't know. To me, my experience, I can't speak for my parents' experience, but my experience was it was something we did before football came on TV. You know, it was like you go on Sunday, you're looking at the clock, you're waiting to get out. It's like, why is the pastor still preaching? I'm hungry. You know, you go get some Mexican food and then you watch football all day. So that was kind of my experience growing up with God. I got saved or I got baptized when I was really young, actually at a harvest crusade. So there's a pastor named Greg Laurie. He does these huge crusades. And I went out to California one year and we went to one of the crusades and they had like an altar call. And so I remember getting, saying the sinner's prayer when I was young and it was a cool moment, but then it just, I never really had that, personal experience, relationship, whatever you want to call it. So that kind of fell off like later on in life, like especially like in my high school years and stuff. I just, I wasn't really a practicing Christian.
Um, what denomination are you?
Currently, that's a great question. Yeah, so currently, I'm exploring orthodoxy
There you
for
go.
sure.
That's what's
Yeah,
up. Eastern,
yeah.
man, Eastern, dude. They always got a lot of food too. So you know, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. So I've actually, it's funny, my journey is kind of, it's wild because I've been inquiring in the Eastern Orthodox Church, and then I have a close friend that's Coptic Orthodox, and he's been inviting me down to his services. And there's so much beauty in it, and just the reverence of God. Not saying that Protestantism doesn't have that, um, but it's just something that I've gravitated towards. And so I don't know. I don't think I align with any specific denomination right now. I believe in the foundational truths of Christianity. Uh, but I've been Baptist, I've been Pentecostal, and now now I'm leaning more towards Orthodoxy. So yeah, it's kind of
I think that that's awesome, and I mean, you seem like a wise person. I bet you stay going that way, man. That's
thanks, man. What
yeah.
about you? What denomination are you?
I would claim Eastern Orthodox, but it's really hard for me to even claim it right now with the reason why I got my job. So I came back from Florida before the hurricanes just happened, you know, how like 9 months ago or whatever. Me and my wife were living in a school bus. She was pregnant and we needed to, I'm trying to be a minimalist, you know, materialistic things. It just, I had a mission and it didn't need to get bogged down by stuff. And I wanted to be mobile. So that was the plan. When I came back to Missouri, I had to get a job, of course. You know, I mean, I was working out there, but the best way to get a job is to make yourself available on weekends.
Sure.
And we needed doctor's appointments, so we needed 2 weekdays off anyway. So I'm not currently going to church, so it's really hard to say that that's what I am if I'm not currently practicing it. But I would say that that is what I claim for sure.
Sure. That's cool,
Uh,
man. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So when did you start getting into sports? Was it like from elementary or middle school?
Yeah, late elementary going into middle school. Um, growing up in Texas, football is huge here. But I always, I loved baseball. Probably that was my favorite sport. I was pretty good at it. And actually I was really good at all sports But then all of a sudden, everyone kept growing, and I kind of stayed the same size. So I went from being like the captain of the team to like riding the bench real quick. You know, it's like overnight, all of a sudden, everyone's bigger than you. I'm like, what happened? You know, I stayed at
Yeah.
5'9". Everyone else is like 6'3", 6'2". I'm like,
Dude, that's hey, same here. I'm legit. Dude, my son, my daughter's about as tall as me, my grown kids. My son, he's like 6'2", both of my sons, but one's not biological, but still they're huge, massive men, you know. And
yeah,
and I walk around, I'm like, man, I'm 41, dude, and I still feel like a kid because everybody seems so big, right? Like they're just so
yeah,
big. So yeah,
yeah, man.
I totally get that. I used to be for 5 years. I worked at this place called Llewellyn's Pub, and I was the door guy. You know, I don't like to say bouncer because again, I'm a small dude. I checked IDs. Yeah, I definitely solved some problems. I had my mace, my baton, pocket knife if it got crazy. But I mean, I had to mace somebody before. I did pull my baton, but I mean, I had maced the dude, so I was able to like get him down anyway. But for the most part, it was all related. You know, like I negotiate and talk to these gigantic men who are just inebriated and angry and they just want to fight. And it's really, I thought it took a skill set to actually be like, yo, like, yeah, dude, you'll probably beat me up. Totally fine. I'm sure that'll happen. There's cameras everywhere, police all down here. You're going to go to jail. I'll go to the hospital and go home. You know, I just don't think that that should be where you want to end your night. You know, and I'd ask them, let me walk you out, man. I'll get you a glass of water, a souvenir cup. You guys come back tomorrow or next day. You know, you're totally fine. And like it never failed. You know, it really didn't. The only time it ever failed was with an older lady, and I had to get physical with it. It was so terrible, man, that I had to put my hands on the older lady and restrain her from like pushing through to get into the bar after being completely wasted. But
That's
yeah, I
part
felt
of the job. It's funny. My brother Jacob right here. That's what he wants to get into. He wants to be a security guard, right? Like
Level
security.
4 bodyguard.
Yeah.
hey, so you know who Tech Nine is, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, he's got his personal like bodyguard. If you've seen him for years, he's called the Tech Nine Ninja, and he's always masked up. He's got like a vest on. Um, he's a large man, so he's a good friend of mine, Ethabo. Uh, that's exactly what he started doing. What he started doing was working for a company that would escort people from like the car to the stage or to the dressing room to the stage, and back and forth and stuff like that. Like he got to a point where he walked. I just interviewed him. He said he walked Val Kilmer out like almost immediate. It was like a couple weeks after his throat surgery, and he had to go to some like charity thing, and he walked him out to that. And I thought that's incredible, and it's landed him in a very very successful life. You know, being security for people. I think that it's a really good job. It's super super fun, and you get to go into so many restricted access places. You know, like there is no place that you don't get to go because you got hey, this is security purposes. I got to go check that room. What it says off limits, not to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah, I think good luck with that, man, and please, dude, do it. I think that would be a great a great path, man, for all kinds of stuff, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
So what was your first what was the first sport that you got into? You were saying baseball. What did you say? Football as well?
Baseball, football, yeah, basketball, uh, soccer. Yeah, I was into those, all growing up. High school, things started to change a little bit. So I'm from Dallas, grew up in Dallas, but we moved around a whole lot. So with my stepdad's job, we lived all over the place. We lived in Mexico City, we lived in Amsterdam, we lived in Virginia.
Well, what do
Dallas
you do
is
for work? What do you do for work?
He worked for a company back then. It was called MCI. Then it got bought out by WorldCom, and I think now today it's Verizon. Um,
Gotcha.
but basically, whatever it was, I don't have a firm grasp on exactly what he did. But whatever it was like we would move somewhere, he'd get it set up. We bounce and move somewhere else. So it was a gift in that I got to experience a lot of different cultures, you
Yeah,
know, especially like living in Amsterdam. That was like a melting
dude,
pot of
that's
just,
awesome.
yeah. And so, but the downside of it was, you know, every year you're picking up, you're moving somewhere else. And so it kind of created this thing in me where I became a chameleon and I kind of lost, you know, my
Dude,
identity,
you
who I
are
was.
you're like
You know,
almost speaking how that's so funny, man. That like speaks to me so much. Please go ahead. That's amazing.
yeah. Well, because I was always moving somewhere and trying to make friends,
Right. You got to
you
fit in.
know, and so I became, you know, a people pleaser, kind of just try to fit in with the crowd and stuff. And I kind of lost sense of myself. And I remember coming back to Dallas. The last time we moved back to Dallas, I moved to like a small town outside of Dallas, and it was like country. You know, everybody who lived in that town grew up together, knew each other. Their parents grew up together. Their grandparents grew up together, and so I found it really hard to kind of fit in. You know, and so when I was, you know, playing all these sports and stuff, all of a sudden now like, you know, somebody who wasn't as good as me, at least is that was my perception of it. Someone who wasn't as good as me would get the position because their dad was long-term friends with the coach, you know, that sort of deal, the small
Yeah,
town stuff.
yeah.
Um, yeah. You want to let him in because he's crying by the door. Yeah, I got you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Um,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, so that's kind of when I stopped taking sports so seriously.
Yeah, I guess that would probably throw a monkey wrench in my passion too. If you start seeing that, I mean, look, what did I say about paranoid? Which I actually refute this. I think that's stupid, but I think they say a paranoid person never gets caught or something. Like you, I think you can look too paranoid that makes you look suspicious, and that could get you caught. But whatever. Um,
Yeah, I mean, looking back, you know, now that I mean, that was so long ago. Now looking back, the reality is they were probably better than me. But I latched onto that thing and I
sure.
created a story in my mind and it became a resentment in my heart,
Yeah.
you know? And so I started to change who I was because, like, well, if I can't play sports, then I'm going to find my identity in these other things.
So what was that? Where did you start going for that?
Dude, honestly, it started off with rap music. I was a huge hip hop fan, and especially, you know, moving around to different cultures, I got to experience, you know, when I lived on the East Coast, I was introduced to Wu-Tang Clan and DMX. And then when I lived overseas in Europe, like there's a huge underground scene out there. So like I was listening to a lot of like underground hip hop. You know, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jedi Mind Tricks, but they were like
No.
huge. Yeah, they were like a huge influence on me. But also like Eminem. Like I thought it was cool that this white dude was like killing it in the rap game. And so like
Right.
I really wanted to be like him. And you know, his early music, which I think is his best music, but it was really angry. It was like fueled by like a lot of anger and stuff. And I really resonated with it. And I remember my mom hearing the CD and taking it from me and then making me, and then she, you know, she made me listen to the censored version, you know, and so,
It's terrible. It
yeah,
never translates right. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. So there
it
used to be
really
a store
does.
called Kmart, and Kmart,
I remember
oh,
Kmart.
yeah, Kmart sold censored version of CDs. You know,
Yes.
so I had to get rid of the my Marshall Mathers LP uncensored, and I had to go to Kmart and get the censored version.
You know what? That's funny. I think that was one of the things. Like, hey, did you get that? Well, did you get it? Where'd you get it from? Did you get it from Kmart or did you get it from like Walmart or Best Buy? You know, because
Yeah,
Best Buy always had the real version.
the real one, you know. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of, and I kind of, you know, I realized early on I was pretty decent. I mean, you know, listening to like old music that I made, I was actually trash. I was terrible. But I thought I was really good, you know, so I like, you know, instead of doing schoolwork and stuff, I'd write raps and
Oh, how we
I
deceive
clicked up with like
ourselves.
other people that made rap music, you know, and so that's kind of what I, but with rap, there's so much there's so much negative influence that comes with it if you give it power. And
So
I wanted to do the things that the rappers were doing because I thought that they really did that stuff. You
right,
know,
I got you. That
so
they live what they talk.
yeah, like back then I was like, they have to do it. They can't talk about it if they're not doing it.
Right, right. That's false advertisement.
And then you grow up and you realize it's just like wrestling. It's not real.
Right, none of it, dude. Like hardly any of it. And really, the ones that did live that life weren't usually the best. They kind
No.
of their talent wasn't that good because they're just too much in the streets. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, I totally. That's awesome. Yeah, I had some kid. I was trying to. So my friend Punchline, he's a rapper. We just both of us kind of together really found our faith like at the same time. It's really crazy. We were states away. We had just lived together with a good Christian friend who we actually told him, man, look, dude, when we're around people and we're talking this music business, you kind of push that God stuff a little too harsh, like you're gonna make us look like the weirdos or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now almost, dude, like any chance I get, I'm like talking about God as much as I can now. And
Yeah.
it's now foresight, But anyway, I do think that he was a big influence, actually. Not like my dad, but I do think that Anthony was a big influence on the reason why me and Punch kind of found God at the same time. But he's not a Christian rapper, all right? Not yet. I told him he needs to put out an album completely no cussing, and like just radio friendly, and start maybe talking about the positive side of his testimony, which he's still kind of going through it right now. He's a combat veteran from the Army.
Okay.
But anyway, he's I guess it doesn't really matter, but it does to the context of what I'm about to say. So he's black. Now, I was trying to push him to people I work with, anytime I see somebody with an earpiece in, I'm like, yo, hey, check this person out. And if they like them, I'll tell them the next person. I go through my whole repertoire.
Yeah.
And so I tell him about Punch. I'm like, yeah, man, check him out. And so he checks him out. I go back to him like a couple days. I see him and I ask him, man, what'd you think of that? And he's like, yeah, it's not really my style. I'm like, cool, totally valid. What is it about him that like you didn't like? Did you not resonate with the story, the beat? Was he too loud? Like, what was it? And he's like, nah, man, I just really like black people rap.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, black people rap. I was like, okay, I laughed a little bit. I'm like, all right, I don't know what that is, So I was like, man, what would that be if you were to give me a rapper to look up and say this is the best representation of black rap? What would that be? And he said, Young Dolph. Young Dolph, dude.
Rest in peace.
I listened to him. I'm like, cool, check him out. I listened to a few, I started just skimming through trash on trash, talking about drugs and murder and all this stuff. I'm like, man, this is what he thinks black culture, like black rap is. What a wild stretch, to I mean, it was just, I thought that was terrible. But dude, there is some truth to at least like that's what when you hear rap, that's what they think it is.
Yeah.
Immediately somebody thinks that it's a negative thing. That's why I like to tell people, man, I push you, dude, too. I'm like, man, listen to this guy. Not trash, and it's rap, dude, and there's great message to it, And even old people are like, okay, cool.
Well, it's wild. Like, you see like all those rappers from like Chicago, they literally go and commit murder and they go and they, do crime and then they head straight to the studio and rap about it word for word, exactly what happened. And now, I was watching some videos the other day. Probably I was doom scrolling. I probably shouldn't have watched as much as I did, but I was just like blown away. It was sad, bro, because it's like kids killing kids.
Yeah, dude.
And they don't, it's like you don't even, and you're glorifying it and you don't even realize and it's like, what are you even killing each other for? It's not, I just don't understand it.
it's barely even land. It's not even like territory anymore. Nowadays, it's just like literally you wore the wrong color.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Like a guy I know. I don't know if you've heard of X Rated.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a friend, dude. He's trying to, well, one of his first things that he did when he was on Instagram, when he first got out, it was like he got this meeting between like some of the high ups on Bloodside and high ups on the Crips. And his channel got taken down due to gang activity, which he was trying to piece it out, kind of explore why is the beef there? What happened? Like, what are you guys even fighting each other for? Where is the contention now? And now he's just really pushing towards that, family life, man. People need to be better. I actually I don't know his 100% stance on like his religion. I don't know what he would claim, if anything. I do
Yeah.
believe he's a God fearing man, though. He talks about it quite a bit. And his two last albums, A Prayer in Hell and A Sin in Heaven. He's talking about the old hymn and like just becoming renewing to something better and different. So
Yeah.
yeah, but again, just the culture though, or what rap culture seems to people look at it as it's like it's this negative thing, but I see a lot of people now trying to, at least on my side, because my algorithm pushes it, because that's who people I know are trying to push it to a more message back, kind of what it was back in the day. It was like F the police, but there was reason behind it. There was, stuff going on, and people wanted to get attention to it. And I think, shaking the public and getting them like, whoa, what's going on? I think is a very good tactic. Um, but there was message back then a little bit more, and then
Yeah.
it moved over to just status. And then I'm seeing a shift, and it's definitely a hardcore shift in Christian rap, dude. Like I am loving what what you guys are all putting out. Everybody that I listen to,
Yeah.
Joe Nestor, ASAP Preach, uh, um, Bryson Gray, Tyson James,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yanti, right? Yanti. Um, a lot of good messages. When when you started making music, I assume when you were trying to idolize that, what were you making? Did you always start with like a good positive music, or were you trying to kind of meld in with what you thought people wanted?
Yeah. So when I first started, I started rapping. This was back like a big thing back when I was growing up were like rap forums. So there was these forums online where you would go
Like
and post.
AOL?
Well, yeah, it's the AOL days, like instant messenger
Okay,
days,
gotcha.
but there'd be websites that you would go to and they'd be forums. So you could like you could do text message, like text battles where you
Okay.
write like a 16 bar, but it's text,
That's,
and you're battling another guy via text. And
they
then
gotta
guys would
read it
come.
too, and they gotta read it like you like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you never really you never get it. Like,
Of course not.
so it's like whoever uses the biggest words wins kind of
Right.
deal.
That's
Uh,
hilarious.
and so there'd be people in the forums that would vote on the best verse. But then all of a sudden it went from that, and then there was a portion of the forum now that was like for audio battles. And so you go on it, and it'd be the most low quality, like just audio. There'd be a beat, and then each person would record it and post their version, and then people would vote. And 3 days later, whoever had the most votes would win. So I really got into that, and I won a couple tournaments. That's where I
Nice.
kind of learned how to use a microphone, use an interface. That's where I started dabbling with like mixing and mastering music, and I would just battle people on there. And but basically, the style of rap that I made in the beginning, I was really into like underground hip hop. So I tried to do like super lyrical, kind of abstract, like an abstract style of hip hop. But then as I grew up more and I started getting into the streets and kind of, getting into a life of crime and stuff like that, I wanted to be like Young Jeezy, you know, which is wild. It's such a switch. So I when I listen to the old stuff that I made, I haven't in a long time, but I could just imagine how cringy it is. I'm probably saying just the most cringy, just like, you know, non-realistic raps about selling cocaine and, you know, just crazy stuff. But I've had different iterations of what I do. My favorite iteration is the one I'm doing currently, which is making music for the Lord.
I love it too, man. I actually just had an idea, which probably nothing, don't know, but would it be fun and possibly enlightening to other people if you use some of your old stuff as ad libs to new stuff now, talking about, hey, this is what I was doing, stuff like
Yeah.
this is what I said, you know, and like talk about it in a rap. I don't know, just
Now that'd be some good content, like play music I used to make
yeah,
and then switch it to like music I'm making now.
I think that that would be it'd be interesting, you know. I so one of the questions that I ask, which maybe you can think on now, because I usually ask it at the end, is what do you think like your worst song is? So don't answer now, but think about your worst song that you did release and it's still out there for somebody to like find and kind
Mhm.
of, you know, hear what where you know. It's usually something old, but maybe
Yeah.
not where you started, but something that you put out that you thought. And then the other question that I ask at the end is, what do you think you're like? You had a song that you really, really wanted, you thought was going to hit. You thought this is the one is deep, people are going to resonate, and it just kind of fell short. And one reason is because I'd like for people to see, you know, where you came from or what your worst is. And then the other one is to kind of give you another opportunity to promote and push something that you thought was going to grow and didn't. You know,
Sure.
so if you want to think on it,
Yeah.
but yeah. So when you started doing this music and you were trying to kind of at least imitate the lifestyle of it through lyrics, then you started to move towards the actual lifestyle because you're rapping about it, you want to say it, or did it go the other way around? You kind of were moving towards that life, and then you want to.
No, so actually, a big part of my testimony is kind of like I had this very sheltered upbringing. Um, and I grew and at this point in my life, like high school, like freshman year of high school, sophomore year of high school, I had a lot of friends that didn't have a family structure. So I had a dad, I had a mom, I had to get good grades. You know, we ate dinner at the kitchen table. You know, my dad was a disciplinarian, you know, not in an abusive way, but like in a good father kind of way.
Yeah, good. We need more of
And
that.
so I wasn't allowed to go to the parties and stuff that all my friends were doing. Now my friends, most of my friends grew up without a dad in the home. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like one of my best friends growing up, his dad was in prison. He was serving like a 35-year sentence, so he wasn't at home. You know, it's so I had a lot of friends that grew up like that, and I remember thinking like, man, you know, I really want to go where they're going, but I can't because my parents are lame.
Yeah,
You
it's so
know,
lame that they love me.
yeah, exactly. Uh, and you know, in high school, I started to get resentful at my stepdad, and I started to get angry at my biological dad.
For his lack of presence. Oh, did we cut out? What happened there? Hold on. I don't know if that's on his end or my end. Uh, Take this time to hit the like, share, go find him everywhere. He might have to, if you're listening, you might have to drop down, like restart it. Okay, hold on. We got sound. Nope. All right. Uh, Great conversation so far. Technical difficulties. It seems to happen. You know, I'm not the tech guy. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing all the time. You know, all I know is to reach out to great people and try and have a conversation with them while you guys watch, listen, and hopefully support. So again, if we can go hit the like, subscribe to him, check out his content. It's fantastic music. I'm telling you, it's really good. Let's see if we can't reach out. Could have been on my side actually. Well, Wi-Fi does look okay. It could have been on my side. My side might have kicked him off. He could have dropped um, due to lack of signal on his side. Who knows? It said he got kicked, so it could have been on my end there. I'm trying to send him a message, but I turned my Wi-Fi off so that it didn't like interfere with the laptop. That was a big fail. I guess it might have already or still messed with it a little bit. There we go. All right, at least they sent this now. Oh, there he goes. Cool. All right. All right. Sorry about that.
No, I think it's my fault. My boss called me back to back to back,
Oh, okay, cool. All
and I
right. I
didn't
thought
have
it
my
was
phone
on
on
me.
do not disturb. So
No worries. Awesome. Hold on. Let me get back to. So, like I said, I had to keep this screen on to make sure that the speaker still works. So I'm watching. I have to put my phone here on the side to make sure that you're not talking
oh, gotcha.
and I don't hear you. You know, because I
Yeah.
can't see you. Um, and of course,
Do you edit this after, or does this just go straight onto the thing and then it's
it goes straight. It goes
well,
straight
there we
on. Which
go. Hey,
I am as well. Dude, when I was doing my YouTube stuff, the whole thing is accountability. Like that's the whole thing. There is no edits and cuts. That's why you know this conversation happened the way it is. Because people try to say, "Oh, you broke the law going in here and there." It's like, look, the whole video is right there. Everything, the interaction with the police and all that. I didn't get arrested because we didn't break the law. You can track minute, second to second. You know, so I'm actually okay with my mess ups. I'm not a tech guy. You know, I
hey,
just go out there and record with my phone or I have conversations on this laptop that my daughter gave me for a present way back when. So, you
dude,
know,
that's awesome, man. That's the way to do it, man. If you try to get everything, it just doesn't work that way.
look,
It's not
I
like
think go ahead, please.
no, I'm saying that's just not how life works.
Right. I think that the most successful people know their strengths and most importantly their shortcomings. And I think that if you're actual in an industry that has like many moving parts, I think knowing your the things that you need to delegate and actually delegate those your shortcomings, I think that that makes a very successful person to understand that I can't do it, but I know somebody who can, and I trust them to do it all the way. You know.
That's right.
So I've been looking for a tech guy. My friend, he found out his mom is she's got cancer, so he's kind of trying
And
to help her with that. Um,
yeah,
if anybody wants to pray for her, man, his name's Anthony. His mother is a great woman. So,
for sure.
but yeah, he's I was telling him if he'll edit my videos and get all the cuss words out of any of the other ones that had them, and then maybe make some clips, I'll pay him for it. And then you know, life hit him pretty hard. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, man, salute to you for doing it. I've been talking about doing a podcast probably for 2.5 years. But in my mind, I'm like, well, I gotta get the microphones and I gotta get the cameras and I gotta have it all right. And it's
do
like,
you?
no, dude, just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
you do it and then you grow from that. Like when I started first doing it, I only had my phone. I never had body cams. With if anybody has heard me talk about First Amendment auditing at all, I suggest get body cams. Don't go out there. I actually suggest really don't do it unless you know 100% the law and you're not afraid of getting arrested. But I just had that, just my phone, man. And then, you know, I started getting the equipment and I started building and doing things, but I still didn't know how to use them. I was like, always, my wife, how do I use it? What do I press? You know, and she'll hand it and she'll say, don't touch this button. And I don't know what it is. I'm just like, boop. What is wrong with me? You know,
Yeah.
I hope I'm not the only one, but every time they're like, don't touch it. I just gotta touch it. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
So anyway, we're talking moving towards the life during music or before music. Like what was going on there?
Yeah. So high school, kind of early high school area, grew up sheltered, you know, stepdad was awesome, kind of glued the family together. My mom was awesome too, but uh I always wanted to do what my friends were doing, but I couldn't. And then, you know, I guess my parents were struggling, but they did a really good job of hiding it in front of me. I have a little brother and I have a little sister. And so I come home from school one day and they're on the couch and they're sitting us down and basically they told us, "Hey, we're getting a divorce." And it was like out of nowhere, you know what I mean? So my dad ended up leaving with my brother and my sister and I stayed with my mom because I had a girlfriend. I didn't want to switch schools, you know, but with him out of the picture, then I started to rebel and I started to do the things that my friends were doing. And so that's around the time where I first started smoking weed. That's around the time where I, you know, took my first drink. Um, and I really liked the way it made me feel, you know. And even, you know, with the drinking, I noticed even back then there was something different about the way I drank as opposed to my friends. So we would all party, we would all have a good time, and then they could stop and kind of just go on, you know, they could sober up and go on living life. I was, you know, still drinking and I wanted more and more and more and more. And, you know, I didn't think that I was an alcoholic or an addict back then because I was like, it's just beer, you know, it's just weed. It's no big deal, you know.
Trying to
um,
just nonchalant it.
yeah. And you know, and then you mix that with the music and all that, and kind of what's being promoted to you at a young age, where you're kind of influenced by all those things. I was like, I mean, who cares? You know, I'm having a good time, and I was. It was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had a lot of fun. All of a sudden, I went from being this like shy kind of, you know, quiet guy to now I was like the life of the party. And, you know, I started getting girls and stuff like that. And so it kind of just fed into this idea that when I smoke weed, when I drink, when I do drugs, life is a lot better. Um, Pretty soon I dropped out of high school. Dropped out of high school like the beginning of my junior year. And so I was partying every day, you know, drinking, smoking, popping pills. I ended up moving to Seattle. I had a friend that I knew online, actually from like the rap world, from the rap forum world.
Okay.
We built this like online friendship. We thought we were gonna start like the super rap group or whatever.
Super rep.
And so I saved up a little bit of money and I flew to Seattle and I lived with him at his parents' house for like a summer. I was just supposed to be there for a summer, you know, and so we barely made any music. We just got high the whole time. And then I met a girl. I ended up moving in with a girl up there. So what it was supposed to be a summer, I ended up staying up there for like 5, 6 years.
Jeez,
Uh,
I
yeah,
didn't think you were gonna go that long. It's just a
yeah,
summer, man. It's 5, 6 years of my
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to get so far away from Texas. I wanted to get so far away from my parents. I had a lot of anger in my heart, and I thought that I was gonna go to Seattle and like I could be whoever I wanted to be up there. And so the person that I recreated myself as was like this like drug dealer, like gangster persona. And it was a lot easier. Look, no offense to anyone who's in Seattle. I don't mean any disrespect by this, but for me, it was a lot easier to do up there than it was down here because
Seattle
people,
sucks. Who cares?
people knew who I was, right? People knew me down here. Up there, they didn't know who the hell I was, so I could be anybody I wanted. And so I started selling weed when I moved to Seattle. I started selling weed. I was selling like, pounds of weed, and I really thought that I was like a good drug dealer, like I really did because I was supporting myself. I had some money, I had a lot of friends, and then I got into cocaine and I got into ecstasy and I tried to sell that stuff, and then pretty soon I realized, man, I'm doing more cocaine than I'm selling, you know, and so my drug habit started to it was worse and worse. It was heavier drugs, heavier drugs, heavier drugs. And then I got a girl pregnant, and it's like I kind of like came to the end of myself. It was like, oh my God, I'm bringing a life into this world. I'm in my 20s. All I'm doing is cocaine all day, every day. I don't have any money. I keep going to jail. It's like I need to get my life together because I'm bringing someone into this world. So I thought it was my circumstances. Like if I change my circumstances, then everything will be okay. So I called my parents. I moved back to Dallas. I got a job here. I kind of set up a life, moved my kid's mom down. She had the baby here in Texas. Uh, but I never stopped using, I was just kind of like a functioning addict, and I did a lot of I treated her really bad. Like when she was pregnant, I just ghosted her and I spent like a whole summer on this like cocaine binge. And so we never really healed from that relationship. And so when we came back, there was still no healing and I was very withdrawn. In my mind, I was like, I'm paying the bills, I'm going to work. What else do you want from me? But that wasn't enough. It's being a father is a lot more than just paying bills. There's a lot more that you're called to do. And so we didn't work out. She ended up leaving with my son. We still had a good. I mean, we still talked and stuff. I was still able to see my son. But that to me now I had another excuse to use drugs. So I was pointing the finger externally, like if you didn't do this to me, if you didn't do this to me, if my dad wasn't an alcoholic, if my mom and my stepdad never got divorced, if you would have just stayed with me, if you didn't take my kid from me, you know, I wouldn't be getting high. My behavior, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And one day, I was around this time, I was really into pain pills like opiates, but this was around the same time where all the pill mills started shutting down, and so the street prices went like skyrocketed. So now for like a hydrocodone that I used to get for $4, I was paying $10, and I needed at least 8 of them to get somewhat high. So I'm buying like 16 pills a day, $10 a piece. Like I can't afford that habit. And so I had a coworker. I was working in a like a bar, I was a line cook in a bar, and my coworker said, "Hey, you look like shit," right? like,
Thanks, man.
eh, like, just being honest with me. And I kind of explained to her, "Yeah, I think I'm dope sick because I can't get any pills." And she said, "Well, hey, try some of this," and it was heroin. And that's the first time I tried heroin. I smoked it, and um, it was like everything I ever wanted.
Oh,
It was just like, oh my God, where has this been? And then every day of my life just became trying to get heroin, trying to get heroin, trying to get heroin. And so now I wasn't a functioning addict. I was just a full blown, losing my job,
fiend.
losing my apartment, staying in shady areas, sleeping on couches. Yeah, I was a dope fiend, 100%. And yeah, and so to supplement that, also I started smoking meth. So the meth wasn't my drug of choice, but meth would give me the energy I needed, to go do what I needed to do to get money to get
It was your
heroin. So the
drug of
end goal,
necessity.
yeah, it was always the end goal was always heroin.
Right.
Um,
But that kept you functioning enough.
yeah,
Meth. The meth part.
yeah, yeah. But also the meth. So I tell it like this. This is how I tell people now. The meth made me crazy, and the heroin made me desperate. So I was always completely out of my mind because I hadn't been asleep. I was in a like meth psychosis, and the heroin made me desperate. I'd do anything to get that. It was like Lord of the Rings, you know, Schmeagol, like my precious. Like I'm looking at like this is my precious, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
I remember I had so you know I said I was smoking heroin. I remember saying like I'll never shoot up. Like that's just not the kind of person I am. I'm not that kind of addict. Within a couple months I was shooting up, you know, and so the
Okay.
needle is a whole different level of drug addiction because then you become addicted to the needle and you become addicted to the ritual of using. So now it's not just the heroin, it's the process of using a syringe to get high. And I
Yeah.
remember like just how desperate I was. You know, I got jumped by three dudes one time, and all I cared about was like, I don't want to break my needle. So I just like fell on the ground and covered my needle because it was the most important thing in my life. And I'm just getting stomped out by these scrawny little meth heads. You know, it's like, but that's just where my life had come to.
Don't break my needle, man.
Yeah, please, man, don't break it.
All I
Yeah.
need after this, I'm good.
Yeah. Uh, and
Terrible.
kind of, you know, Jacob right here, you know, he enters into my story like when I had moved back from Seattle and my son was just born. Me and Jacob met and we did a lot of music together. You know, secular music, like underground hip hop kind of music, but he had, you know, his story is crazy too. You'll want to talk to him probably fully. One he'll have
I,
such a better,
I
like
would
more
love to
powerful.
actually,
This is
dude,
his
if
time
we
right
could.
now. This is
Hey,
his time.
I would set, yeah, I would set it up, dude, for another one. I would love to actually
Yeah,
talk to you about all that.
yeah,
Please, yeah, thank you. Okay,
yeah.
for sure.
So he, you know, he was experimenting with drugs. I was experimenting with drugs. It wasn't as bad, you know. It wasn't when we met. It wasn't like that bad. But then we started to realize, hey, we're having a studio session, and I'm so messed up, I can't even record my vocals. And then I'd look at him, and he'd be so barred out that he's just like in the corner somewhere, like nodding out. You know, it was like so. So we spent a lot of time making music, and we never actually made music.
Right.
You know
I,
what I mean?
yeah,
But we
yeah, yeah.
loved music, and we had such a close friendship. But that was before, you know, I started using heroin. And then when I started using heroin, fast forward, when I started using heroin, that's when I was kind of like, you know, staying couch to couch, you know, on the streets, wherever. And I ended up getting arrested with, you know, a significant amount of meth and heroin, enough to give you like a prison sentence, you know, not just like, hey, this is a, you know, 90 days in county jail kind of thing. It was
You're
like,
getting
no, this
locked up.
is, yeah, you're going away. And I, you know, it wasn't what I would do. My hustle was, if, you know, as addicts do, my hustle was middlemaning. So someone from the suburbs would want to get a bunch of heroin. I knew where to go get it. Give me your money. I'll go get it. I bring it back. I take a bunch for myself and give you. And so that's really what I was doing. But in the process of doing that, I got pulled over. They found the drugs. I went to jail. And so I sat in county for a while. I got out on probation. And when I got out on probation, I moved in with Jacob and his family. And then we were both, at this time, we were both spun out on meth, both spun out on heroin. And it was just a really ugly time of my life, man. Uh, that lasted about a summer. I got caught again with more drugs, and then so this time they did give me a prison sentence. I got a 3-year sentence, TDC. I'm probably the first person in my family to go to prison. Um,
Is that an
and so,
achievement?
what's that?
Is that an achievement?
No, not at all, man. But it's funny, you know. People wear it like a badge of honor.
Yes, they do. I know. That's why I was bringing it up from
Yeah,
the rap thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And it's like,
ridiculous.
you know, once you go, you know, I went when I was in prison. I just realized how meaningless everything is. Like, you know, it's just such a ignorant place to be. You know, every that's not fair, but a lot of people who are in prison, it just becomes a way of life, you know? And it's like they get out, they go right back, they get out, they go right back. And next thing you know, you look up, you've done 15 years in
Yeah,
prison. And you just
crazy.
become so, your mentality is so prison oriented. Now, I was
Institutionalized.
institutionalized, yeah. And so I was blessed. I went to a transfer unit, which is not, it's like daycare for adults, you know. So I got a
Okay.
3 year sentence. I was there for about a year and a half. But I did the whole experience. I got my neck tattooed. I ended up getting it removed with laser. But like I was there for the whole, the whole stay. Um, but
Okay.
man, it was a lonely place, bro. It was a very lonely place because prison is divided by racial lines, and I grew up with so many different races as friends, especially moving around so much, and so it was just a very weird, like, that they look down upon you if you eat with somebody of a different race, and it's
Right.
just all this politics, and I understand the reasoning for it. The prison, at any moment something could go down, and you have to ride with your people, and that's just how it is.
Yeah,
You
prison
know?
mentality is it is way different, and unless you've been somewhat involved with it, and whether it's through family, your own experience, it's really hard for people to grasp it. They just think that that just means there's racism and all this. Like, I mean, kind of, but like, it's not based in the hatred of it.
No, it's not. It's not. It
It's
really
just
isn't.
it's just politics, and it's really weird. It's like you can associate with other countries, but you want to stay in your own country. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just we don't want to. It is weird. Now I've never been to prison. I've been to jail quite a bit, and I've had the experience growing up in like foster care, but in child institutions as well, like Child Haven and Boys Town, and they were similar to that type of mentality as well.
Yeah.
But when I was out in the streets, again, same with you with that. I grew up around. I was the minority. I was
Mhm.
always in the other areas where most white people kind of don't go, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, when I like, I'll tell you this: when I went to the country, when I went to like the deep white territory, that is where I saw a little bit more uncomfortable type of racism. Like I did not, I didn't really, I didn't vibe too much with all of that. Not saying rednecks or
Yeah.
country people are all racist. I'm just saying, like, when I came across that brand of
Sure.
segregation, it seemed it was way more based in not like just hate, but we're just better. We're just better.
Right.
A lot of the time when I was in the minority experience, because racism was happening to me all the time. I was the only white boy.
Yeah.
It was all the time, but it wasn't out of like they're better than me or I'm hated, because it was just like, you're not us. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So the vibe was just a little bit different. It wasn't based in so much of hate as it was of like, why are you around? You're just different. And the other side, it was like, dude, we're better. We're just above it. It's just,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I did think that, I know I moved on to actual racism, but prison politics is separate from that, is
Yeah,
where I
you're absolutely right. It's racially divided. It's not necessarily racist.
was.
There's racist people obviously in there,
Right,
but
of
it's just
course.
racially divided. And I think a lot of that is because it brings order. It brings some type of order structure
Okay,
into this environment. Just like, if I do something that offends another people group, my own people are the ones who deal with me. And it
right.
keeps this kind of this order system. But for me, I was like, I'm not gonna be here forever. I'm gonna be here minimum 3 years. My sentence is 3 years max.
Never coming back either.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not trying to get, to me it's not that serious.
Right,
Um, but anyway, like I was in prison, and he continued while I was in prison. He continued. We had a huge fall. I mean, I was a street addict. So I would steal, I would scheme, I stole, like he let me move into his house, and I stole from him, and then tried to help him look for the things that I stole, and he knew that I stole it, that kind of deal. So
I've done
finally
that.
he was
That's
like,
so pathetic, dude. I've
yeah,
done that too. What the?
yeah. So
Anyway,
basically, he's like, you got to go. You can't
yeah.
stay here anymore. And so we kind of parted ways. I ended up going to prison. He kept living that life.
Did I turn into a street addict?
Then he became a street
And
addict.
then you do the very thing that you're trying to protect yourself from.
Yeah. And so in prison, calling home, hey, this is my wake up call. I'm going to get my life together kind of deal. My mom lets me parole out to her house. I make parole, go to her house, and I get the job, I get the car, I get the place, and then I relapse again. And it's just so quick. And because I'm on parole, I get drug tested pretty frequently, and so, I'm showing up, I got track marks up and down my arms, I'm not able to use the like I don't have to use the bathroom kind of
Yeah, I
deal. And
can't.
they're
I
like,
already
well, we'll
went.
wait. They're
Yeah,
like, we'll
no,
wait
I
for
already
you.
went. I only go once a day.
Yeah. And so, my PO was like, we're gonna send you back, if you don't clean up your act. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, I couldn't stop using, and I didn't understand addiction or the disease of addiction or anything like that at this time. I had never walked into a 12-step meeting, anything like that. I thought it was really something I could do by sheer willpower. Um, but I kept using heroin, kept using heroin. This time, like my downward spiral was like real fast. I had a year and a half where I wasn't using anything when I was locked up in county jail and in prison. And it's like my addiction was just doing push-ups, waiting for me to use again. And so this time I was homeless on the
It's getting
streets.
stronger. That's
It's
crazy.
getting stronger. It's
I've just
training.
imagined like it's the gorilla on your
Yeah.
back, dude. And it's just up there. It's just pushing. Like, wait, dude. As soon as
Yeah.
you get here, boy, you ain't met nothing as strong as me.
Yeah, it's Goku. It's Goku
There you
training in the
go.
cat,
Right.
like he's getting ready, and that's how it hit me, and so I found myself completely spun out of my mind. Like I hadn't slept at all. So it was crazy the way it happened, because I had all these things, and then when I relapsed, I slowly lost everything, and the last thing that I had was my car. And my grand idea was like, well, I'll just live in my car. It's all good. I can get money. I can go to work. I can do whatever I need to do, and I'll just live in my car.
Yeah, why not?
Well, I wrecked my car, like
Oh,
it was one of those deals where I'm driving, I looked down to change the radio, and then I looked back up and the car had stopped, and I swerve out of the way, and it was like a 5-car pileup, completely totaled my
oh
car.
no, seriously?
So bad. It was so bad, but
Damn.
it was God stripping away everything to lead me to rock bottom. I really do
When he
believe that.
does that, dude, sometimes, man, it's like you really are all the way. I get it. I
Yeah.
feel it. I know it's coming down to everything. I got it.
Yeah.
He really does. He knows how to strip us down. It's a good way
Yeah.
to explain it.
Yeah. That's what he did. And then, I'm on the side of the road. I call my drug dealer. I tell him, hey, I'll give you $20 to come pick me up.
Of course.
He comes and gets
That's
me.
your most important person.
That's all I wanted. Yeah. I was on my way to his house anyway. So, I'll be damned if I'm not going to get high. If I just total my car.
Right.
So he picks me up. I end up staying at his house for like 3-4 days. My money runs out. And, trap houses don't let you stay there if you don't have money. So it was time for me to go. But I was so spun out on meth that I thought everyone was trying to kill me. I really thought I was in a full-blown meth psychosis. I thought everyone was trying to kill me. So I'm laying in the house, and the guy who kind of runs the house, he's like doing something weird with his gun, right? He's like, I think he's probably just grabbing it and putting it up, but in my mind, I'm like, why has he got that in his hand?
This weird thing he's doing.
Yeah. And why is he looking like that? And I'm all spun. So I get up and I just dart out of the house and I start running, and he's probably like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, dude, of course he is.
Dude. Taking off down the street.
I
got like no shoes on. I'm wearing like pajama pants and like a leather jacket. I look crazy. Right. And I'm running, and like I see cars.
A leather jacket. I'm sorry that ensemble is like
it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. There's like a truck passes by, And he's like, he does this thing where he looks at his watch, and I think he's communicating to someone else, and I think like the whole city, like they're trying to kill me. And it was so real to me. I run into a Boost Mobile. I'm like, they're trying to kill me. I'm like yelling. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's customers in there. You know, they have to escort me out. You
2
know,
p.m. That's bright day.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's early for a psychosis, bro.
Yeah, I'm out there getting wild.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm on the streets for a couple of days, and I'm riding on the train just to sleep on the train. And I remember like hearing people behind me just talk about how bad I smelled, you know, and how dirty I looked. And um dude, I was just rock bottom, man. It was just I was ready to give up. Um and by the grace of God, my uncle picked me up and he put me in a hotel room for a couple nights, like a cheap motel room, and and he said he was going to give me some help. And I remember I had $20 and I was calling everywhere to try to get some drugs, and nobody would pick up the phone, which is weird. So I detoxed off heroin in that hotel room, just cold turkey, and it was miserable. And then he took me to a ministry in Dallas called the Men of Nehemiah, which is actually where I work now.
Oh, cool.
And it's kind of like a faith-based military boot camp style rehab center, and it's a 9-month long process. But I had like no options left. I didn't know what to do. So he took me there. He dropped me off, and I walk in, and like it's like a culture shock. There's guys walking around in military uniforms. You know, there's a little, 5'2" drill sergeant yelling at everybody, and I'm like, where the hell am I? You know. But I had nowhere else to go. So I kind of my plan was I'm going to stay here, get some food. I'm going to come up with a plan and I'm going to go. And I just kind of, a day turned into a week, turned into a month. And they were teaching like they were teaching the Bible and the gospel. And, it just started to come to life for me. And I started to realize, who Jesus was. And then I started to think, like, well, if Jesus is a real person and there's historic evidence that points
Outside the
to him,
Bible, people.
yeah, that points
Oh,
to him being a real person, and then he's making these claims that are backed up by all these eyewitness accounts that are pretty reliable sources of information.
I don't get why people don't follow it logically like this. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm thinking it's like, and he's saying these wild claims about himself. It's like, well, these are some very serious implications, right? And then I start to see people in this rehab center, like graduates of the program, that are following Jesus, and they used to be heroin addicts like me, but now they have their families back and they're owners of businesses and they're thriving and they're bearing fruit. And I'm like, well, I want what they have. So I'm like, well, I'll give this Jesus thing a go. I don't really believe, but hey, I mean, it's got to be better than walking around homeless on the streets, spun out of my
No.
mind.
Yeah.
And so I slowly started to give myself over to this whole Christianity thing. And I ended up getting baptized. And dude, I just was really on fire for the Lord. And I came to believe, like, at first I didn't really believe, but then as I started doing my own like research and I had people to disciple me, I mean, I was thoroughly convinced, and then my life started to do this, not necessarily materially.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Right.
not, this isn't prosperity gospel. I'm
No.
talking about the healing of my heart.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden all these resentments and stuff like started to go away. I started to have a good relationship with my parents again. I started to build relationships with other people. I was such a like isolated just junkie, and people started to trust me again, which was wild.
To be trusted it feels great to
Yeah.
have people have trust in you. If nobody's actually had that, like that full embodied trust with your life, with their life, you don't, again, it's something that's really hard to explain how it feels to be in a position to have somebody's trust like that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And so like a month, it's a 9-month program. I ended up graduating the program, and then they gave me a job. They hired me, and it's really cool. This ministry, maybe you can plug it in the comment section or something like that for anyone who needs help. It was completely free. It was a 9-month program that I didn't have to pay a dime for, and it just had. I left that place with such a strong support network, and we do a lot of really cool things. So something that really helped me kind of like fall in love with the process is we have a choir. So the way we get our message out is we go out to churches and we share our testimonies and we lead worship, but we're very unorthodox in our approach. So we rap, we have a like electric guitar, we have a really good drummer, like it's really like next level. And
Good.
so I tried out for one of the rap parts and I ended up getting it, and then I became like the go-to rap person, and then I started rapping, like doing Christian rap through the ministry, and I really gave myself over to it. And yeah, I really do think that's one of the reasons why I got hired, because the founder of the organization is like this huge music guy, and so he saw my passion for music, and he was like, "I want you on staff." And so I started like bottom of the totem pole, and just over the years, I've kind of worked in different departments, different areas. And now I guess my title now is biblical director. So I'm kind of over, one leg of the stool. There's 3 different legs. So biblical, clinical, and military. So I'm over one of those departments. And that was almost 8 years ago. And so I'm coming up on 8 years sober. And God completely transformed my life, man. And what's
What
crazy is,
what was it? I'm sorry. What was
no,
the
go ahead.
ministry so I can Google it?
Men of Nehemiah.
Will you spell it, man?
Yeah. NEHEMIAH.org.
I got you. Well, it's blurry. I think that's it.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, cool. I'll see if I can pin it, dude. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, that was 8 years ago. Man, God completely transformed my life. And through the whole process, I just realized, like, man, they feed us this lie. They feed us this lie. Whoever it is, the Bible says that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but there's an actual spirit realm. There's a part in Ephesians chapter 2 where it says that we were dead in our trespasses and sins, following the course of this world, and we were following the prince of the power of the air, which is another name for Satan. And when you think about the prince of the power of the air, it's about influence. And so I really believe that spiritual warfare is about influence. And our young people are being influenced. They're just being bombarded day after day after day with this demonic influence. And it happened in my life. And I gave myself over to this idea of what it meant to be a man, and this idea, where it really just led to my ultimate destruction. And it was through my destruction and hitting rock bottom that I had to look up, and I found the grace of God. And then when I came to know Jesus, it was like the scales came off my eyes and I could like see things for what they actually were. And so, you talk about this shift in music, and I see it too. I think people are starting to realize that this like low vibrational music is just not where it's at.
I like you
You
saying
still
the vibration. Are you saying like the actual how it
yeah,
used
just
to
this
be?
overall low vibrational, like it's not good for your spirit. Like people are like, man, you think about it too deep, but music is very influential. And so if all you're listening to is murder, murder, kill, kill, if all you're listening to is bees and hoes and all that, and glorifying this lifestyle that ultimately leads to destruction, you begin to mold your ideology around it. We're on the flip side, what's really cool? What's cool is providing for your family. What's cool is not going to prison. What's cool is not using drugs if they destroy your life. You know, what's cool is going to work and bringing home a paycheck. You know, what's cool is being there for your daughter's soccer game. You know, like that's cool. But we
Yeah.
don't glorify that. We glorify all the things that kill us. You know, and it was me following after Christ and having some men in my life that were pouring into me that revealed these things to me. And I was like, man, I would rather live a boring life and be present for the people I love than to live this chaotic life glorifying something that's not even real. And the people who glorify it don't even live that life in the first place.
So, dude, so very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
I wanted to when you were talking about the drug life and how it was fun. Um, when people try to think about purpose in life, they think that it has to be a good time, you know, and it feels like if you're having a good time, then you're having purpose in life. I think that purpose is way different than pleasure, purpose, duty, things like this. Now, you say you had a fun life, and a lot of people would be like, fun is worth it. But do you feel that sometimes even not having fun, but doing what you have to do, you know, the duty of your life, whatever it may be, does that not give you greater satisfaction now, of course, looking back, than, you know, snorting a however big of a line or whatever? Like the best party night, could you think that the best party night even comes close to the purpose that you have now?
Not even close, man. You know, back, you know that saying, laugh now, cry later? Like all that fun that I had when I was in the world and all that fun I had partying and doing drugs, like it was only fun in the moment, you know, but in the end, it just leaves you empty no matter what. You know, even if you had a fun week, eventually it leaves you empty and you always need more and more and more. And purpose does the opposite. Purpose is saying there's something greater than myself and how I feel, and it's probably has to do with the people around me. And you know, when you look at the life of Jesus, he was self-sacrificing love, and he paints this model for us to follow. And even when you read recovery literature, it says that drugs and alcohol are not the root of our problem, and the actual root of our problem is selfishness and self-centeredness, driven by 100 forms of fear. And so it's this life where it's all about me, and I have to filter everything through how it affects me and how it makes me feel, and everything's me, self-conscious, self-absorbed, you know, self-focused, and it's just misery and it's bondage. And when you can break out of that and start living for the people around you, you know, Jesus did it, and you start to see like, man, there's freedom in not thinking about myself all the freaking time.
Real freedom. I think that
Real freedom.
I think that's true freedom. I don't think that a person understands, again, unless you do it. How do you explain it? It is something that you have to experience yourself to understand how fulfilling it can be. You know, it's really good, man. It really is too. Um, yeah. So with that, with your purpose, or well, actually, I have a question on your sobriety. Then, um, are you 100% sober, as in you never take commune? Is it commune as communion? Drink wine? Do you ever drink wine or anything, or is it all?
I don't drink wine. I'm 100% abstinent from everything. Now, in a church setting, if it's communion, you know, a little, you know, that's fine. But no, I don't. I don't drink recreationally. I don't smoke. I don't knock people who do.
I
I
was
just
going to
know
ask
my.
you
I
for
just know myself. I
yeah,
to me, and there's different philosophies on recovery, and so to me, it's like, how can you live? How can you live the life? You know, how can you live a life where you're taking care of the people around you? You know, for me, I can't smoke weed, and I can't drink because it'll lead me to everything else. You know, there's this thing called California clean, where it's like I don't do anything but smoke weed, and that works for some people. Hey, praise God. I love, you know, back, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes I think, man, smoking a blunt, would make this movie so much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
got you.
you know, the promise of the 12 steps is that God will remove the obsession. So now I can have the thought, you know, a hot day, I can say, man, a beer would be really nice. I can have the thought and then I could just put it to the side. Whereas before, my obsessive mind, if I think about the blunt, if I think about then eventually I'm going to end up using it. And so God's done that for me. He's removed the obsession. Now I know people, like I said earlier, that smoke and have awesome lives. You know, power to them if that's the lifestyle they choose. You know, but for me, I mean, it's total abstinence.
Yeah, I was wondering that one with communion, but then I was also wondering how you felt with other people doing it. I mean, you wouldn't say that it's 100% bad for other people to drink if they know how to, you know, do
Not at
they
all.
know how
No.
to mitigate it.
Yeah, I mean, alcohol. There's nothing. This is my point of view. I don't know how the church stands on this or whatever, but my point of view is there's nothing is inherently bad.
Sure.
It's when we abuse it and we turn it into an idol. And
Yes.
so, you know, I know plenty of people, you know, in my life that are mentors to me and stuff. You know, they drink,
Yeah.
but they're not drunks. You
Yeah.
know, it's like they'll go to a baseball game and have a beer. Well, I'm at the baseball game having a beer and then having another one and having another one and
Right.
having another one.
There is a difference to
There's a
excessive.
difference, yeah.
Right. Right. For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was again just I've heard people try and put Christians in this like they really they don't understand what a Christian really is. They try to put us in this whole like bubble of purity when we actually are supposed to be, you know, I mean, as it says, bold lions. We're supposed to be out there strong, pushing society in the way of the light and challenging people who are against that. You know, like we are told to do this. And then, you know, I mean, Jesus, man, he straight up turned water into wine for a party. So to sit there and think that Christians can't party, you know, or have a good time, also very ridiculous. And there was something else. A friend of mine was just telling me that I need to put it away because I got another kid on the way, and it was 4.5 months after my newest now that was born that she got pregnant. You know, and they're like put that away. I'm like, man, this is one of those things like that just shows Christians don't have dead bedrooms either, man. We rock it, dude. And that's why we're pumping out most kids. You know, it's like we aren't these turn the other cheek. What have you ever heard of Andrew Wilson?
No,
Great debater, man. If you like any type of content that kind of pushes against secular beliefs, he does it usually from a secular point of view because people don't. They try to, as soon as you say Christian stuff, they're like, oh, what about the Crusades? What about the priests? What about this? Like, just calm down. Just calm down. All right. But one of the things that he says is we're not these sewing circle Christians. We don't practice the religion of be nice. Okay. Because that's so subjective straight up. What is being nice? Because my be nice is to tell somebody when they're doing something stupid, right? And to hold them accountable to it. And also not to, you know, I mean, just to get into what society is kind of like now promoting the LGBTQ stuff. I'm like so against the ideology of kids transitioning and all this.
absolutely.
Like it's absolutely disgraceful, despicable, disgusting. And so what I think is nice is telling one of these people like, hey, I don't think what you're doing is right. I think that this is something that is pushing you down that path of more wrong. You're harming yourself, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually. It is killing you right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that you should like go and admit yourself into a hospital. You need medication that's not pushing your body into a different like testosterone for women or estrogen for men. Not that type of meds. You need head meds. You need somebody to talk to you and to actually figure out where this is coming from and how to get you out of that ideology and push you back into reality, which that is, you tell people, man, the truth. They're like, well, which truth? Your truth, my truth? The truth. There is no other. There's not your truth, my truth.
It's
Two
the
plus
truth.
two is always four. Always. I don't care
Yeah.
who you are, you know? And yeah, I just, this whole concept of what Christians, of what people think Christians are supposed to be is so misrepresented, miscued. Like they're just, their perception of it is way off. We
It's
are
wild. Yeah, it's wild. When you think about it at its root, a Christian is just supposed to be Christ-like.
right.
That's our
And
purpose,
what was he doing?
is
Flipping
to become
tables?
Christ-like. You
Yeah,
know, it's not about this moral, we've turned it into this morality code, you know, and so that's just like a very defeated version of Christianity because we're not always going to get it right. We're
right.
not always going to, the truth is like, you know, Jesus is who he is, and we're trying our best to model our lives after
Yeah,
him. We're
yeah,
called to love the lost.
yeah,
That doesn't mean we're called to be like, you know, just co-sign
yeah.
things that aren't, you know, but also, you know, some people's hearts are just hardened and you're not going to get through to them,
True.
you know? And so it's like, my whole thing is if
Takes
you
a
have
certain.
this, if you have this certain agenda you know, that you live by, you know, America's a free country. And if you want to practice these things, that's on you, but don't come after the kids. Don't come after my kids with your stuff. You know, I don't need to see you waving a flag and having a whole month for your thing because we're not running around with flags talking about straight pride. You know, so it's like you do what you
I
do. This is
fought
a
that.
free country. You
Yeah,
know, I love you as a human being,
right,
you know, but why do you have to shove it down my throat?
right.
Why do you have to shove it down a child's throat who's impressionable? You know, that just doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't understand it. And I think, you know, it's all good to talk about everything except for Jesus. So it's
Right.
like it's the ones who are tolerant, the ones who are practicing tolerance, that are the most intolerant
Intolerant. Yeah,
when I want to
absolutely.
practice my beliefs.
Yes, yes.
So
No. See, they say no love like Christian hate, and it's no love like free love is what it, or there's no hate like free love, because they as soon as you disagree with their ideology, they hate you, and I
yeah,
mean hate. And we disagree with their ideology, and you don't see us saying. No, there are some people who are out there misusing Christianity by saying hatred things, but we don't go out there and say, "I hate you. Stop being what you do." It's like, no, I love you and I want you. This is one of the things too. For me, I'm a little selfish. I don't want Satan to get one soul. I don't want him to get one. I
yeah,
want to be on the winning team, which we are, and I don't want that dude to get one of them. I don't care about really who you are as that person outside of my my life, my existence. What I do care is that I don't need you to fill the voids of hell with more souls. I don't need that. I want more of us up, you know,
yeah,
and I will push it as hard as I can. And it ain't gonna be in the like I said, the sewing circle Christian way. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I just love you, just do what you do. No, I'm gonna push on you, and I'm gonna tell you this is wrong. It's disgusting. Just stop. You know, if you want to do it again, when it was behind closed doors, there was really not that much of a problem being what they were when it was that way. There wasn't much of an issue because they weren't trying to just shove it down everybody's throat, like you were saying, for sure. And yeah, I just you know, but that's hatred, is what they say. What we believe and what we want to say in that way, no matter what, that's hate. You know, when
yeah.
uh, we want people to be well, to be better. You know, so again, just misinterpreting and misrepresenting what our actual positions are in that. You know,
Sure.
so curious then with and we're gonna kind of wrap up soon here. Just curious with what you are making, the music that you're making right now. Which okay, real quick, No Love. Who made that? Not you. The song No Love,
No, that's not me. I'm a feature on that.
dude. That's like one of my absolute top songs. I like to start my day with that song. When I go to
Yeah,
work, I pop it in the ear. That's usually the first one that I pick.
that's a
Um,
good one.
yeah,
That's a
dude,
good one.
I really like it, man. So anyway, what are you really trying to impact with your music? What is the message that you're really pushing, other than, of course, God and salvation? What's like your story message? What are you trying to tell people?
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer that nothing is wasted and God doesn't waste anything. And so for a lot of people who are wondering like what their purpose is, lean into your pain, because wherever your pain is, that's probably what God wants to use for your purpose.
I love that.
So for me, like, the ministry that I work at, there's 62 men in the program. There's 32 men in our aftercare program. That's almost 100 men. Then we have alumni. I mean, we have this huge thing of men who have come through addiction and then get to the other side. And so they're always wondering, like, what is my purpose? Like, dude, your purpose is that you can pour into an addict's life like nobody else. God has given you that ministry because he didn't bring you through 20 years of heroin addiction so that you could get a job and go work in HVAC.
Right.
Like it's great. Like, go work in HVAC, but your purpose is probably tied into your past so you can help others come out of the darkness. So when it comes to my music, music for me, I love it. It's a passion. It's a hobby. It's something that I do to fellowship with my brothers. It's something that I do to have fun, do something productive, and it's a hobby for me, but I take it seriously too at the same time. And the message behind it is always going to be just this lie that we've been fed and then getting to the other side of it. So a lot of my music is kind of it's like spiritual warfare. I talk a lot about addiction and then getting to the other side and the hope that's found in Christ. And so I hope that that's how my music always stays. But I think, an area that I'm really looking at right now is, you said earlier about your friend who's a really good rapper, but he's not a Christian rapper yet. I don't really know how I feel about the term Christian rapper.
Okay.
Because from my perspective, what I see happening, not knocking anybody, because I don't think this is intentional, but it's Christian rappers rapping to Christian rappers, and you're kind of staying in this like Christian rapper, Christian bubble when we're called to go out into the world. So I love the idea of people not being overtly Christian rappers, but making music that will influence people who are in the world, and bringing them to the source of true freedom, which is Christ. Now, I'm not saying compromise your stance. I'm not saying get intermingled with the world. I'm saying make music that people will be interested and be like, well, what's he talking about? And, as they start digging deeper, they're like, oh, he's talking about Jesus. And they start looking you up, and then it's like, oh, he's following Christ. And so you're influencing them in that way. So I love that. I don't think that Christian rap is just reserved for Christians. It's like branch out, get out into the world, go reach the lost.
I like that a lot. That's actually one of the biggest things that Punch is trying to do. And if I don't know, if you would vibe with it. Maybe though. I mean, he's really good, man. Punchline 3NT. I'll send you a link maybe on Instagram if that's cool.
Yeah.
His whole, so he has this is his symbol 3, and it represents the Holy Trinity.
Nice.
Right? And he hand stitches this into hoodies with a LED light, and he's kind of like Tony Stark, and he's trying to push the light into the world. And if you really listen to what his lyrics are, a lot of people think he's kind of dark rap, but if you listen to a lot of what he is saying, he's talking about dark times and how he is pushing through it.
Well, I would love that. I love dark music. I'm sorry. I just do.
That's cool.
You'll
probably you probably like his stuff, man. He's pretty good. We made a couple videos when he was out here living with me. They're more upbeat, not like dark like his old stuff, but Been Jammin', Don't Trust, Vibe, and Beautiful. Those were videos we were kind of working on out here with him. But yeah, his whole point though is to push people out of the dark life that a lot of people are experiencing. Society is going down a really, really bad path. It does seem like maybe the pendulum's swinging up a little bit, but in order to really get that going, man, we need more people out there kind of, pushing the positivity. And that is one of the things that he tries to do. And really, when I tell him about, not being the Christian rapper, all I want from him, what I keep telling him is give me radio ready songs, man. So I can like push it to everybody and they can put it on the radio if we can, So if you can, just give me some of that. But, yeah, I think that positive music it seems like it's on an uptick, people with actual stories and message in it. So I really do. I appreciate that that view on it that you take there. I think that's awesome. I don't think that it should be reserved for only like Christian rap. Can still be godlike rap, just like rap, man. And rap about good stuff. And if you mention how awesome God is in that rap, you'll start drawing people to it,
Exactly. Well, rap is competitive in nature. Like the art form of rap, especially if you're into like lyricism and like real MCs. And so, I think sometimes Christian rap can be funny because it's like, I just picture like Jesus in heaven being like, yeah, that was a hot verse. Like that was a hot 16. Like, and it's really like, what are we really doing? We're just doing, it's just lyrical hip hop, and then we're just putting Jesus on it, but it still can be very competitive in nature. Sure. So I'm like, okay, like just be a great rapper.
Yes.
Be a good human being. Be a good devout Christian, and it's okay. Like it's like. You see an athlete. You see an athlete playing in the NFL. He's not a Christian athlete. He's an athlete playing in the NFL, and he's really good. And then when you interview him, you realize, oh, he's a Christian. He's a devout Christian. So it's like it's gonna translate through your music. If you're rapping about what you live, and you're being authentic to who you are, and you're following after the Lord, then you don't have to think about being a Christian rapper. It's just gonna come out in your art.
I like that. Yeah, I agree 100%. So, all right. Well, with that, we'll get to the last two questions that I kind of had you. I don't know if you were pondering it, but what would be that one song that you released that kind of was like, you thought it was trashy or not as good, but you kept it out there anyway?
Yeah. So, like in all time span, like not just as a Christian rapper.
Right, correct.
So I got a song that I did. So I used to go under the name Q the Vandal, and I was doing a lot of like underground music. Yeah, and it came from my original rap name, which was IQ. Anyway, so I put out this song called God Delusion. And the whole song is me just talking crap about Christianity and how we're just
wait, hold on. How far back is this?
This is before I got sober, before I came to know the Lord. So this is probably 10, 11 years ago. Okay. Now, I would have taken down all that music, but somewhere along the lines in my addiction, I lost all my passwords. And now, like, to get into YouTube, you have to have like two-factor identification and nothing match. So it's just out there. I've got all this music out there that's just satanic. And I wish I could take it down, but it's out there. That's probably one of those songs that's like, terrible song. Terrible.
All right. Now the other one would be, what song did you think that you made that you thought was gonna really hit and resonate, and it just didn't get the attention you were hoping for? You could have still got a lot of attention. You just thought, man, this one was gonna be it, and just did.
Yeah, I did a song called Even If. And it's not really along the lines of the music that I usually make. I usually make music that's like boom bap 90s style, kind of darker, but this song was one where I had a singer kind of singing under me in the hook. And the message is basically, even if I lose it all, God is still faithful. And I was really proud of that song. And
it's a good song.
It's a good song. But I thought maybe that was the one that that was gonna go viral. I don't know, going viral. That's a funny concept anyway. Even if,
okay, and that's under your name.
Yeah, under Mayez. Yeah, and it's featuring my friend Dale Moorhead, and he kind of does the under, whatever you call it. He sings under me as I rap in the hook. But
Gotcha.
that's a song that I was trying to branch off and do something different, and I, really proud of it. So, but I got a lot of music that I'm working on right now. I'm kind of branching out, trying to do more features. So I got a song. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Commissioner.
No.
So I got a song with Commissioner that's about to come out, with Azika that's about to come out. And those are kind of like raw boom bap kind of hip hop
Probably why I
vibe.
vibe with it, man. Because I mean, I grew up in the '80s, but
Yeah,
'90s as well, and that was where I was really like coming into music ish, on
yeah,
my own. So that's probably why I vibe with it.
yeah, man.
Um, man, great. Oh, actually, there is another question. I looked you up on YouTube, and there's like a couple, and there's like a Mayez topic or something page. Like, are you on YouTube?
Yeah, so on YouTube, it's the at sign, and it's Mayez Music, MAYEZ MUSIC, and I'm really, that's what I'm focusing on. I'm going to focus on putting stuff on YouTube. So
Yeah.
that other one with the topic, I think that just happens when you upload music through the
Okay.
streaming platforms. It
Gotcha.
creates something on YouTube. I don't understand it all. I'm still
Yeah, me,
trying to
dude.
figure it out.
I was up in it and stuff, and one of my videos got like over 1 million hits in less than a month, and it was right when I was monetized. And I told a couple of my people, and they're like, "Man, you're gonna get like $2,000-3,000 or something with all," because I had probably close to 1 million views through my other videos that was gonna hit with that check as well. So it was about 2 million views in less than a month on my full channel, and they're like, "Dude, you're getting paid." They sent me like a $201 check, and then my channel got deleted. I was like,
Wow.
so I couldn't even call them and be like, "Yo, what's up with this? Where's my money?" Any of that, It just
Yeah.
it sucked. But yeah, it's so. I'm again not a tech guy, so to navigate through these things, I feel like I'm just stumbling around in the dark, stubbing my toe every now and then. But
Yeah.
there is a time or two where I feel like I find a light switch, and bloop, and there's a little okay, now I got it.
Yeah.
But then another like hard left, and it's like, oh shit, I lost it. I
Yeah.
don't know. So, but the YouTube algorithm, man, when it picks you up, it's really nice. I think that play the song, SJD. Anyway, I might, what, after he gets off, right before I cut it off, I might try to look it up. But I'm not so skilled with streaming while on here. So anyway,
We're gonna figure it out, Andrew.
yeah,
We're gonna get better at
one of
this.
these days. But yeah, dude, please highly suggest doing the YouTube side of it, man. I think that you'll get some, it might take time, dude, but I think you'll get some good feedback on it. Like you'll get some good following support, dude. I'll most definitely be there, of course, so yeah, I think
Awesome,
that's
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
But I do, before we close out,
yeah,
I do want to say, just if anyone like struggling with drug addiction, substance abuse, I think that's to me, that's more important than the music piece. The music, I love to do it, but it's really this addiction, man. I want to see people free from the bondage of addiction, so that they can live fruitful lives, so that they could be the men that God created them to be. And so if there's anyone out there, that needs help, please look me up on social media, DM me. I can get you plugged in with some resources. If you have a family member that's struggling with addiction and you don't know what to do, please DM me. I feel like that's what God has put me on this earth to do, is to help people that are battling with serious addictions. And like I said, I work for an organization where it's costs the person completely zero to get help. And so I'd love to get you plugged into that.
that's truly amazing. I'm gonna make sure I clip that and put that out too, man. I think that that's awesome. That was kind of one of the things I was doing when I was catching the PDFs. I was like, man, if you got somebody that you need me to look at or whatever, and like cops ain't doing something, or you just want us to expose them on there, send it over.
Yeah.
I think that my pain has been in that realm there, and I do believe that I've been put here dude, when you said lean in that pain, I'm like, that's exactly. I just told my wife. I was just telling my mom because her dog's dying, and we opted not to give him the pill. Just let him come home and just die when he dies.
Mhm.
And she's like, she's sad, and she says, you know, I want him to pass, but you know, not unnaturally. She's like, why do I have to do it? You know, it's like, because you can. That's why. Because you're that person that has been through a lot, and you can sit while others are in pain and slipping away, and you comfort them, you know, and it might suck. It weighs heavy on your heart. I know it does. But
Yeah.
that's a truly great purpose in life, is to be able to absorb other people's pain and help them get through it. You know, I
Right.
think that it's a truly amazing gift, and it is very much earned through your own suffering most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's incredible, man, and thank you for that offer too. I think that if anybody out there has that, please, yes, reach out. You know,
Sure.
you're not alone. You know, people
Right.
are always there. There is help waiting. You just have to be willing to not only ask but accept it as well. So,
Right.
all right, yeah. So fantastic, man. Thank you so much for this conversation. If you could one last time give us who you are and where we can find all of your stuff.
Yeah. So my name is Rand Carlson. I go by the name Mayez when I make music, and you can find it on Instagram at Mayez214, TikTok at Mayez214, and on YouTube at Mayez Music. I should probably get all three to just be the same, but
Maybe, you know, but hey, you'll get there. We're figuring it out, like we just said. You know, we'll get
yeah.
there. Um, if I
And
could,
the addiction piece, you can find me online, www.menofnehemiah.org.
if I still, so my old channel that was gone, I think still with the IP address, it's like linked to this one. So
Mhm.
I'm not 100% if I'm like shadow banned or whatever with it. So I might be starting a whole new one with this though, you know, like clipping all of these and putting the full ones on there. But if this starts to grow, or that does, my point was, if I could, I would love to get you back on here when we have more of a following, to get you the credit that you deserve, the eyes on you. You know, we don't reach a whole lot of people right now, and I just want to give you a better opportunity to reach more people when I grow into something, you know, more.
Yeah.
That's all. So if I
No, man,
could,
I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed just getting to know you, man. I love this. This was a great conversation.
cool.
And if one person watches, if 20 people watch, if 1,000 people watch, this is exactly where God has us today.
Yes, sir.
And it is, this is an awesome experience. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, man. Hey, God bless both of you. Stay strong, man. Push that light, dude. I am watching and I'm eagerly waiting to see you, dude. Just you're gonna keep growing and growing,
Thanks, bro.
and it's gonna hit the stratosphere one day, man. And I can't wait to see that, dude. So,
Thanks, bro.
yeah, thanks again, man. And we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome, man. See you, bro.
Thanks,
All
bro.
right, see ya, guys. Solid, man. I really know some great people, you know, and I just reached out to him. I saw him on my like For You page on Instagram. Just the music, the flow, the voice, the beats that he's doing, it just like it clicked so quick, you know, and I immediately was like, dude, I want to talk to this guy. I really want to talk to him. And so, you know, I reached out, and the man is busy. He we kept kind of going back and forth a little bit, asking, you know, when we could set it up. He's like, lock it in, boom, done. Just thank you, man. Fantastic. Um, can I do this? Add another tab. I'm seeing if we can find that song and play it on here. I just don't think I can though. I was doing it the other day. Excuse me, but I had it all set up already. All right, hold on. How did I? All right, hold on. I got you. I think I know I have it. I got to figure out how I can that or present share screen. Okay, hold on. I'm working it. Hold on now. Look at that. I'm getting it. Oh, if the ad might help him. Oh, he's probably not monetized.
Father God, I need you. My faith is weak right now, Lord. So remove my fear. Because I know that even if I lose everything, I still got you. Even if I lose it all, I know you with me, walking with me through it all. So even when I fall, I know who to call. When it feels like I'm drowning, you bring me to the shore. So even if I lose it all, I know you with me, walking with me through it all. So even when I fall, I know who to call. When it feels like I'm drowning, you bring me to the shore. I can't do this without you, I need you, Lord. I'm feeling torn, no hiding from it when the people gone. I'm leaning on you, believing on you to heal my heart. For real, I'm flawed, I'm falling off for the will of God. All of these anxieties got me fighting society, trying to keep sobriety, but my demons are eyeing me, steadily reminding me that I'm not the man I'm trying to be. But I know you died for me, your blood is all that God can see. This unbelief got me doubting you underneath, and I'm drowning, feel like a coward, no power, I'm bound and weak, looking down at my feet. But you told me to keep my head up, cause even though it's pouring right now, it's bound to let up on these cloudy days, counting on grace to give me strength in Christ, to live my life despite losing my way at times. I keep it real cause you can see inside me, but I know I'm just a man and you a God Almighty. Yeah, even if I lose it all, I know you with me, walking with me through it all. So even when I fall, I know who to call. When it feels like I'm drowning, you bring me to the shore. So even if I lose it all, I know you with me, walking with me through it all. So even when I fall, I know who to call. When it feels like I'm drowning, you bring me to the shore. My brother called me, told me they laid him off. He's standing strong in the struggle, putting his faith in God. We used to break the law just to make the cake evolve, but nowadays we pray to the one who made it all. Cause we do not own anything beneath the moon and stars, and when I think that I'm in charge, I'm doing it wrong. Search the motives of my heart, am I missing the mark? Send me out to help somebody that's still in the dark. Cause if you're trying to seek his presence, go and be a blessing to somebody else and watch the way he steps in. Yeah, I've been stressing, striving to reach perfection, overlooking all the progress made in the right direction. But my identity is not in these possessions. When I'm dead and gone, I know heaven is where I'm headed for. These momentary tribulations don't compare at all to the glory in store for me when I'm next to the Lord. So even if I lose it all, I know you with me, walking with me through it all. So even when I fall, I know who to call. When it feels like I'm drowning, you bring me to the shore. So even if I lose it all, I know you with me, walking with me through it all. So even when I fall, I know who to call. When it feels like I'm drowning, you bring me to the shore. Even if I lose it all. Even if I lose it all, you'll still bring me back to the shore.
Man, what? Why didn't that hit? What is wrong with people? Like that is perfect. Is good. Yeah, it is. That was like straight solid. That was a great song. Fantastic. That dude, look, man, his flow is great, isn't it? His flow is super clean, man. I love his voice, dude. It's got that um man, how do I don't even know how to explain like the kind of high pitchy. It's smooth. It's like it's butter smooth, you know. Great song. Um, good man. His brother as well. I'm definitely gonna reach out and get an interview with his brother that was in the background. Kind of get that his testimony as well. Super clean, wasn't it? Yeah, super clean. SJD, man, thanks, dude, for popping on here. I appreciate you so much, man. I really do. You're a solid guy too, man. I very much appreciate you. I know you got things going on right now, so excuse me to have time to come on here, man. Thanks. I think I'm gonna end it. Well, not I think I'm gonna end it. I think again another solid, great interview in the books. God bless that man, and I hope that he continues to just, like I said, push and push his light out there, man, because we need it. We truly we need it. Of course, man. You support, dude. Years. We've known each other for years, man, and you've been there, you know. And I hope I've been there. I tried. I tried to be there anytime that you know reached out. So. And anytime I reached out, you were always there, dude. So I very much appreciate you, man. You're great. You're a great person and a good friend. So anyway, everybody, one last time, thank you, and stay tuned. We got more. We got more coming. So I appreciate you. See you next time.